So I have finally found out what love is, and I've formed my own definition of love. And right now, some are like, good for you. Well, I'm like, listening. So I've actually, sometimes I get, due to the help of the Holy Spirit, and due to the studying, and due to the fellowship I have with God and reading the Bible, and what I have learned in life and what I've seen, I have been able to, and I've been able to know some things and get some inspirations. Sometimes some insights and inspirations just come to me, and if I don't write them down, I can literally forget them. I can literally forget not the concept of what the thing is, but at least the way it came to me, the original form in which it came to me. I could literally forget the original form, but the content of what the meaning, the whole meaning of what, of the insights that came to me, whatever it is pertaining to, I still retain that. But the form in which it came to me, if I don't write them down, I could literally forget them. So I actually had to like write out the new definition of love that I formed out from what I have learned, and I wrote it down just not to forget the original form in which it came to me. Even though the content of the whole thing is still, I still retain that, and I still know that if I sleep and wake up right now, I would be able to tell you what it is. But the original form of the definition of love that came to me, I have to like write it out so that I don't forget it. And I've written down a whole lot of things so that I don't also forget them, and miss out on things. So what I have formed, the definition of love that I have formed, is love is initially a feeling of good desire, fueled and kept by intentional commitment, showed in actions. I'll say that again, and I'll try to write it down so that you could follow through. So love is initially a feeling of good desire, fueled and kept by intentional commitment, showed in actions. Commitments that are showed in actions that we do. And that is the definition of love that I have formed out of everything that I've learned from the Bible, from the revelations, from how life is, what I found out to be true, And I would also like to give a formula to help us understand this concept of my own definition, of the definition of love that I have formed out, not by my own thoughts, whatever. It's what I have learned and what I have found out and what I have seen from what Jesus Christ always say about love, and what I have found out to be true about love. So the formula that would help us here is love is 10% feelings. It's 10% feelings, okay? 50% commitment and 40% actions, okay? I'll explain that. Love is 10% feelings, 50% commitment, 40% actions. And I will explain all of this from our lives as human beings, the different kind of love. Love, the true ingredient of what love is, the true makeup of love in its true entity, is the same for the different kind of love. We know we have different kind of love. The God kind of love that is unconditional, and when it comes to man, to human beings, there's a different kind of love as it relates to the romantic side, the family kind of love between parents, siblings, and friendship kind of love, and all of that, mother to a child, whatever, but the love, the ingredient, the makeup of love is still, what makes love is still the same, but it is given and received differently in all of these types of love, but it's still the same thing that makes up love. Okay, if you say a cookie or spaghetti, for example, is made up of the pasta and the sauce, meatballs, whatever, spices. So however you make spaghetti, it's still going to be the same ingredients you put together. But you know, different people take spaghetti differently, or receive it or give it differently. I don't know. But what I'm trying to say is that love, the ingredient, what makes love, what defines love is the same for all types of love. But why we have different types of love: the unconditional love, agape, you know, and the romantic kind of love, eros, and the kind of parents kind of love. What makes them different is the way we give it and the way we receive it from those that give it, you know. But love in itself is the same, but expressed and received in different ways. So the way I found love is that love is 10% feelings, 50% commitment, and 40% actions. And again, before I go back into the examples, love is initially a feeling of good desire, fueled and kept by intentional commitment showed in actions. Now let me explain. God loved us. You won't say he doesn't have feelings. God does have feelings. What is the definition of feelings? Feelings are emotions. He was hungry. Hunger is a feeling. It's not a pleasant one, but he was hungry at one time when he went to the temple. The temple was meant for a place of prayer to God. He said that, and when he went there, and actually what happened was, he was going to Jerusalem. It was close to the time of his betrayal and the time that he would be given to the humans to be betrayed. And when he was going there, he found some people selling things in the temple, buying doves, gold lambs for sacrifice, and you know, for cleansing of sins and all of that. And he was hungry that this market and this selling point and buying and selling point was actually taking place in the temple. And he was hungry and was like, this place is a place of prayer. Why would you want to turn it into a den of thieves? This place is not for this kind of thing. You're trying to change the purpose of the temple, you know, and inviting thieves into, making it a place that is polluted, whereby bad things could actually happen. So he was hungry, and he threw that stuff, that goods, away on the floor, and he was so hungry and he was so mad. Hunger is a feeling. Okay, so God has feelings. He had compassion. Compassion is a feeling. You know, when some people were sick, he had compassion on them and healed their diseases. Okay, and when one time he also wanted to have a quiet time with his disciples, and he went to the wilderness, and the people followed him, and he was so compassionate. He doesn't want to send them away. In the process of going home, in the long journey, because this is the wilderness, and they followed him all the way to the wilderness, out of the towns. They followed him out of the towns into the wilderness. So he doesn't want to let them go that way, and then some of them could faint because none of them prepared. None of them knew how long they were going to stay there. So he fed them. He had compassion on them and he fed them. So he has feelings. This feeling of love for us led him to be committed to us, and that commitment bounds him to us. He's committed, whereby he can't just desert us. He can't just one day say, I'm tired of these people. I'm just so tired. God had an initial good feeling of love for us, okay? And this kind of feeling, his was unconditional. And because of that feeling, he was committed to us. And because of that commitment, he made promises. He was committed to listen to us. and to answer us. He wasn't, because of his commitment, he did not grow weary and so tired that he just decided that he could literally decide to like end the whole thing. Because I tell you what, not all of the Christians, not all of the people that are yet to be Christians give him his due, the due return of love that he has given to us. No one can actually give him that much love that he has given to us, but at least to show that I wouldn't say there's a whole lot of Christians that love God so much. There's a whole lot of Christians that are coming to understand, God and love him back in the way that they can, but not all of these people do that. He's not like, can you see the percentage of people that actually show love or show consideration towards me for the love that I have, showed them? I don't understand, man. I don't understand these people I've made. Like, the percentage of people that actually show love back to me are so small. They literally do whatever they want to do. Even then, after they're done whatever they want to do, then they remember me. And they don't think twice to say, oh, wait, I'm a child of God and my father would not literally want me to do this. Should I think twice before I indulge in this? If I indulge in this, I could be wired with flames of whatever this is and it could consume me. Before I enter into this and become overpowered by it, should I first of all think of what God wants me to do because I love him and I said I was gonna, follow him? Not everyone does that, and he because of that, he has not yet decided to, like, because of his commitment, he has not yet decided to like break down this world and be like, I'm gonna destroy this world this time by fire, because the last time I destroyed it by flood, I've made a promise that I won't do that again. So this time I'm going to destroy it by fire. Because of the commitment he has for us, he has not yet destroyed this whole world. He's still listening. He's still answering prayers. He's still delivering. He's still providing. He's still directing, growing, correcting, forgiving. He's still protecting. He's still defending all of us. This commitment binds him to us, and because of this commitment, it gives birth to actions. It makes him act on our behalf. Love is not passive. It's not passive, and it's action. It's love is action, and you act by it. You act because you love. You act because you're committed. Because of the fact that I love God. Initially, it's a feeling, but I have to keep it going and keep it burning, keep it fueling by the commitment and actually acting to show that I am actually committed. I can actually think about how I could be committed to God, but if I don't act it out, it's dead. It's not really true, So because I love him, even when I don't feel like it, I still come out, know that my love for him should be intentional. It should be showed out in intentional acts that I have Jesus to. Christ every day preaches. There's no day he did not preach. So I know I don't preach every day, but I try to still come out to share the things that I have learned to everyone. Okay, so going into the area of man and how men show love and receive love, I've been able to explain this definition of my unformed definition of love to you as it relates to God and how how he loved us first through the feelings he has for us of good desire of love, and how he's committed to us, and how he carries out that commitment through actions, and shows us that he loves us. So now men, in the area of love, in the area of eros, the kind of romantic kind of love, again, let me define this love and then tell you how it works out and how it would help. So love is initially a feeling of good desire, fueled and kept by intentional commitment, showed in actions. So I know that some may argue with this definition and say that not everyone that loves has a good desire, that it could be, some people could say that they love, but the desire in whatever they're actually seeking and they're calling it love could not be a good desire, could be a very bad one. But before I actually go into that, I would like to explain this, the definition, and give my examples before I actually dive into anything else. So I have listened to a whole lot of people, couples, watched a whole lot of things, and read a whole lot of things, books concerning love and everything that has to do with it. And I found out that the initial feeling of love, when two people say they love each other, the initial feeling of that love is kind of like a gift to help the engagement and the union of these two people. The feeling in love. Now, love is made up of three things, right? Feelings, which is 10%, and commitment, which is 50%, and the actions, which are 40%. The commitment and the actions cannot help with the whole thing in the long run, okay? But the feelings, which is 10%, is more abundant in the initial phase, okay? It kind of helps the two to like unite, to want something for themselves in the future. Like, it's abundant in the initial phase, okay? But you need to now grow it, keep growing it, keeping it alive with commitment and actions as time goes on, because it tends to like want to wear away. It tends to like wear away when you have that person so much to yourself. You know that person, and you don't want to commonize that person or take that person for granted. You want to keep that feeling going, and that the feeling through actions and commitment in the long run. But in the initial phase, the feeling is abundant. Love is initial feeling of good desire, and it has to be kept. It's an initial feeling of good desire, fueled and kept by intentional commitment. So it's a continuous thing. It doesn't stop. It's kept and fueled. That feeling is fed so that it will be kept, okay, by intentional commitment that is showed in actions, okay. And I tell you, if you keep doing that, both parties do that, that feeling would strive, would survive amidst a whole lot of chaos that probably would want to shake the relationship. The feeling of love in itself, okay, is everything positive. Love in itself, it has no evil in it. It has no bad side in it, okay. It's just the way some people go about it, but love in itself has no evil, and it has no negative side. It's all good, it's all positive. 10% feelings. Why is it 10% feeling? Because there'll be a whole lot of wow times in the future whereby you would see new things, and you may want to like try out new things that are not necessarily right, that may want to violate whatever you've said you would do as it relates to the relationship that you're currently in. So the commitment to keep you bound to doing the things you've promised to do, the commitment to keep you bound to doing what you've said you would do, to looking back to the vows and to the promises you've made, to the vision you have for the relationship. It will keep you bound to those things and produce actions that will affirm the commitment that you have. If this is not done, if a relationship grows or evolves out of feeling, and in the long run no commitment is kept that leads to consistent actions to affirm the commitment, you'll find out that you just partner with whoever you are married to. You just partner with them, and there won't be anything there. And you would wonder what happened. Like, you fell in love then and you're almost falling out of love now. I don't know if this is coming too early, but Jesus Christ gives us a true definition of a true example of love. He's telling us that love is action. Okay, it's what you choose to do. It's not all feelings. It's not feeling at all. It's like, for me, 10%, because he said, love your neighbor as you love yourself. Okay, love your neighbor as you love yourself. Then love your enemies. So literally, you can choose to, and you can choose to love or not to love. And love is like, love your neighbor. Love is like a verb there. Love is like action. It's something you do. It's not something you wait till you have the feeling for it. Okay, so if we are mandated to love our enemies, and he's using the word love, he's not saying have good feelings for your enemies, have good feelings for your neighbors. He's like, love your neighbors, love your enemies, right? Having known that he's telling us to love our enemies, to love our neighbors, you found out that when you are in a relationship, okay, it is a choice to keep loving. When the abundant feelings you had in the beginning is almost not there, not because something threw it away, but because life happens, things changed, new things happen that causes a change in the way things were, it wasn't there in the beginning. New things happen, new care, you need to like take care of some other things, kids, you need to like take care of this business, you need to like, and you see things differently, you need to like compromise, you need to like express your whatever things happen in the future that tends to like diminish that initial feeling. So now you have to come back to the fact that love is actually a choice and a decision, and you have to like decide to hold on the commitment, to be committed to this person, committed to every promise, to this one person, and then you have to produce actions from the commitment. If you're committed that this person, you will show them love, then you have to produce actions of love. If you're committed that you forgive, or you would carry out the expectations of this other person, as the person has communicated to you that this is their expectations of you, or this is my love language, I want you to like do this because this is the way I feel loved. If you've seen that and you said I will do that, and you've promised them, you are now committed to keeping that promise, and then you carry out actions. You carry out actions by loving them in their love language, and whatever expectations they have of you, and they've told you that they expect you in the beginning, that they want you to act this way, or they're expecting that you would do this, even if you don't do all of them, you're not committed to like acting out their expectations, not being a slave to them, but trying out to show them that you love them by doing that things that they want you to do and they're expecting of you to do, and loving them in their love language and however they want to feel loved. This is the only way in the future that love will be maintained, because that's what love is. It's almost like sacrificing. It's almost like sacrificing is like you're slaving, and it's not really good, but but it's like committing that I would keep doing things that show love to this person, and that's how the love will keep the feeling of love will keep being alive. If you have commitment and you carry out those commitment through actions, the love will still be kept alive as in the long term, as it relates to other relationship, as it relates to the relationship. So what happens in the time that we live in, what happens is that some people base the whole idea of love on the feeling. Okay, so in the terms of family area, um, in terms of family area, when we all love our relatives, we all love our family members, our sisters, our brothers, our fathers, our mothers. We all love them, right? But we don't always tell them, I'm in love with you, like I love you. That feeling, that phase is was given birth to and held on and carried all through the lives of the family members. They don't always have to communicate it, but most times families, make it a commitment that is unbreakable, to be committed to each family member and to do these things that the commitment leads them to go out of their way to provide for the family, to show up for the family, the needs and the cares of the family. So you can't, the thing is, in a family, everyone loves each other. Not all the time. There could be misagreement, misunderstanding, misagreement, whatever. There could be disagreement. Thank you, that was the word, disagreement. Okay, so there could be disagreement in the family, okay, and there could be misunderstandings, fights, whatever. But family naturally is doesn't lack commitment. It's hard to find a family that is not committed to each other, okay, and this commitment makes every family go out of their way to act in love. Okay, if this person has some money and this person doesn't have enough money, families come together to provide, right? If the father, even though he doesn't feel like it, goes out of his way to work every day to provide for the family. Sometimes the wives which are the helpers, the mothers carry out their duties as they have to in a family, and the kids try their best to, keep the family going and do the things they need to do as it relates to their roles and everything. What am I saying? What I'm literally saying is the normal family operates in love originally, like unknowingly they love each other, even if they disagree and misunderstand themselves or fight and they have quarrels or whatever. The normal typical family, operates in love, in the sense that irrespective of whatever they're going through, they still love each other at the end of the day. Most times, I've heard of families that do terrible things to each other, but the typical family, that is normal, love each other amidst the whole chaos or whatever is going on, amidst the misunderstanding. They can't leave their other person, the other member, to strive and die without having to do something to help or try to go out of their way to be there. They do these things. And how do they do these things? How do they go out of their way, to love each other, to come through, to go out of their way to be there, to listen, to help, to care, to provide? Is because they are committed. Even if they want to or not, they are committed. And that commitment makes them to act in the way that they need to show up for their families or to provide for their families. Even though some parents fail in showing their love and commitment, I'm just giving a generalization, okay, of a typical family in the world. A typical family, whether they're Christian based on, or they're not, or they're non-Christians, or they're Christians. Generalizing it now, a typical family love one another, no matter what the kind of love is. If it's the love that is founded in a family whereby there's parents, siblings, relatives, and everyone comes together to show love to themselves, or whether it's the kind of romantic love, or whether it's the God kind of love, whatever the kind of love is the same in every area. is the same. It's born out of an initial feeling of good desire for this other person or persons, that is kept and fueled by intentional commitment to that person. That is kept and fueled by intentional commitment that is showed through actions. The commitments are showed out through actions. Whether it's in the family with the parents and the siblings or the relatives, everyone love each other and they're committed and they show up by acting out in favorable ways to their family. Whether it's in the marriage with the romantic kind of relationships, the initial feeling that brings them together has to be kept by commitment that will bring forth actions to confirm the love that they have between each other, and that will fuel and keep the feelings going along the way. Whether it has to relate to the God kind of love, which is the unconditional love, he loved us initially, which is a good feeling, and he's committed to us. That's why he listens to us, answers us, shows up for us, and he shows his commitment through his actions that allows him to provide for us, to fight for us, to defend us, to fulfill his promises, to send his son to die, to forgive us, to correct us, to guide, whatever. All of this kind of love is based on the same makeup, but it is given out and received in different forms. To God to us, he's giving it to us unconditionally, and we're receiving it from him as someone that gives it to us unconditionally. In the romantic kind of love, it is given out, in a different way, in the sense that I love you because you have this or whatever, that, and you have this or that, and you are also expecting the other person to love back, but the makeup of love that would keep everything going is still the same. Romantic kind, I'm in love with you, and because of that I'm committed to you, and I'm going to do things to show you that I love you, and hopefully it keeps going that way. And if we are committed to each other, we will keep it going. And in the family, it's still the same kind of love, it's still the same love, but given out in a different way. I'm committed to you because we're a family and I have to show up for you, and that because of that I do things that will show you that I love you, even if I don't want to, or I want to, and I love you initially. You're my family, I'm committed to you, and I do things to show you that I love you.